and welcome to this week's edition of the Spartan Sports Report. I'm Sam Harvey, and my guest, as always, Athletic Director Brent Duncan. And glad to have you back.
It's always good to come and talk about the Spartan athletic team, so glad to be here.
One of these days, we hope we get our third person back here in Fran. And
I hope it's getting soon.
Yeah, me too.
He has all the good questions.
Yeah. Yes, he does. He comes prepared.
He brings his clipboard and his notes. So.
Yes, he does. So while I'm winging it here, talk a little bit about this past week in Spartan athletics.
Well, you know, we had Quentin Jones diving at the IHSA state finals, and went up Saturday and watched him. And Quentin represented us well. Wasn't one of his better days diving. And you know, after the first cut, he wasn't in the top X that they took. They make 3 cuts, and or they make 2 cuts before they get to the finals. And unfortunately for Quentin, he didn't get to have enough points to make it into the top cut. So his day was done after 5 dives. But you know, it's a great showing for Quentin for 3 years in a row at being at the state finals and being a part of the diving, state meet. Just a great time for him, and he's well represented the high school very well every time he's been there.
And it's yeah, great recognition for the high school and for the community as a whole.
Yeah, and it was just a little different when you walked into the natatorium on Saturday morning. Just surreal from what I've been in there the last 3 years of the number of people coming to watch the swim meet, and it was limited to only the swimmers only. So swimmers and divers only, and coaches, and no fans whatsoever. So it was just a little bit of a different atmosphere compared to what you were used to having the last 3 years. So
yeah, I would think so, because you go to those and it's usually so loud in those venues, no matter where it is.
Well, if you go to the Friday night prelims, you know, got everybody trying to get to the top 16, and it's just packed in the natatorium if you've been there on both sides of the upper deck, and all the kids are down on the deck. Well, now all the kids are up in the stands where the people usually sit. And of course, with diving, there's only 32 divers, so you talk about a bare and quiet, hallowed place for the whole day, and not much going on. So, but it went well and went smooth, and just unfortunately, he didn't have one of his better days as diving. Wasn't that he had a terrible one, but sometimes in that state meet, you got to be on top of your top on those days. And the young man who won it was a Delta High School grad for the 2nd straight year, and I kind of was amazed. You know, he scored a 79.05 on his last dive. Which I assume is pretty darn good. 100 would be perfect, I would guess, depending on how many people are there. It's all based on degree of difficulty, but just an excellent young man, and you know, there's a lot of good competition there. So, but Quentin did well for the 3 years he was there.
Yeah, to have made it there 3 years I think that's quite a feat in itself. Yeah,
you know, you get to the region round, you got to get in the top 8. So you know, out of all the, I can't remember exactly 24 divers or how many was there on that day, but. You know, that's not always an easy accomplishment to do, and if you know anything about diving, it just takes 1 or 2 bad dives, and then you're totally in the wrong and on the short end of the stick. So you got to be spot on your game, and you don't even have to be majorly off. You just have to be minorly off. And it's just like at the state wrestling meet when I talked to the Evan about it, I said, you can't afford to make a mistake here because everybody's good enough to take advantage of your mistakes, or they're not at that level. And it's the same thing with diving. You can't afford to make one little mistake, and it just compounds it because of the level of competition. So, but overall, it was a good day and well represented by him and Coach Day. So,
great. Well, congratulations to him on a great career at CHS.
Yeah, we'll miss. You know, hopefully we'll have a diver come in, or kids who are interested in diving. And, you know, obviously Chrissy was not a diver in high school, but 3rd in all-around in gymnastics her senior year in high school. So pretty good little person to understand how to do body control and teach you the things and how to open up and do the right way to spin and turn and flip. So she has all that down. And, you know, that's kind of what diving is with gymnastics, just with water to land in and not a mat to land on. So she's got a great understanding and the concept of what needs to get done to make you successful.
Maybe a little more distance in between to make those moves.
Just a tad, a little softer, maybe water to land in, maybe not if you don't land right, but she does a good job with them. So hopefully we'll get some kids that want to come out, and she can help mold them into to good divers as well.
Exactly. So we also had gymnastics going on this week.
Yeah, we hosted the gymnastics sectional, and we had 8 teams there, and then 2 teams had individuals, and we finished 4th out of the 8 teams. Unfortunately for us, that's 1 spot out of the money spot, so they take the top 3 teams. Richmond won, Newcastle was 2nd, and New Pal was 3rd. And New Pal beat us by a couple 3 points. And but we did get 1 girl to qualify in the all-around, Allison Hoffman. She's a senior this year. She last year she went in one event, and this year she's going to get to go in all 4 events. So
Great.
she'll travel to Columbus on Saturday and start competing at 1 and all 4 events, and hopefully get a good enough score to advance to the state meet the following week at Ball State.
So do you know how many teams feed into that Columbus Regional?
Top 3 from 2, so there's 6 teams, I think, qualified. And then all the individuals who might be in the top 6 of any individual event. So they'll take the top 6 of the vault, the bar, the beam, and the floor, and the all-around. And if you're not on one of the advancing teams, then you get to go as well. So every girl on the Richmond, the New Pal, and the Newcastle team automatically get to go because their teams are there. And then it's any individual that finished in the top 6 on any individual apparatus.
Well, we certainly wish her well and Coach Borders well. And the tradition continues, though, getting somebody to go. And
yeah, you know, Joanne's run a very successful program, and it's just getting kids to understand that that's one of those sports you can't take time off because the body changes so much. And if you lose your strength, you lose your timing, it's just a little bit more difficult to stay caught up with. So hopefully we'll find some girls that want to completely do it all year round. You know, I mean, not that you can't do other sports. And as we know, we've had kids in the past that are 3-sport athletes that still do gymnastics all year round to stay up on top of things. So those things are possible. It's just about time management and commitment, but unfortunately that's one of those sports that you have to stay on because the body changes so much with strength, and you grow or you get a little bit bigger weight-wise, and that throws timing off. So you got to stay on top of it. It's just like swimming, trying to do flip turns and your body's changing. You get a little longer, you got to do a little bit differently than if you're a little shorter. So it's all those things that the kids don't always think about, that you try to tell them, but they, you know, as we were kids, we didn't always believe everything everybody told us. But
really,
hopefully that'll get everything done, and we'll get some kids in there that want to do it year round and get back to where we were, you know, consistently all the time. But we've always been able to get at least 1 or 2 through to the regional, if not the whole team. So.
And they start at preschool age, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think
has them start, and
you can start as little as you want. Mine started at about 18 months. So, but you know, there's just difference of what you do. Learn how to, you know, it's a lot of it just learning to stand in line and wait your turn, being around other kids, and working on your core body strength to make you stronger and more physically fit. So there's lots of little things that go into it besides just the sport of gymnastics. So.
And it's interesting that they can do other things as well, like be a cheerleader.
Yeah, Allison's on the cheerleading squad, so you know she's going to go compete Saturday afternoon at 1 in Columbus, and hopefully she'll get to take a little trip to Greensburg on Saturday night and cheer for the Spartans on Saturday night at 7:30. But you know that's yet to be seen because we have to get through Friday yet. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so they have the opportunity to do other things. We have gymnasts that are Spartanettes, and we had gymnasts and divers at times. You know, and sometimes,
and like you said, that's kind of a natural fit there.
If you remember a long time ago, back many years ago, girls swimming was in the fall, so most of your gymnasts were the divers. And then they put swimming together with the boys in the wintertime, and now you have a little bit of a conflict with your, you know, the gymnast and the swimmers, picking whether you want to be a diver or a gymnast sometimes. So it just makes a long day. We've had it happen, just makes a long day, because a lot of times the diving practices before school because there's less people in the pool and they got more time to get the lane lines out and have space. So it can be worked out if it wants to be done, though.
Well, we mentioned basketball, and we've got sectional action coming up. Actually, sectional starts tomorrow night down at Greensburg. And if you got those pairings for us, Justin, we can take a look at them. Tomorrow night, South Dearborn and Lawrenceburg open up, and whoever wins that will be the Spartans' opponent on Friday night, and then Wednesday night a pair of games at Greensburg as Franklin County and Batesville go at it, and then in the nightcap, Greensburg and Rushville. Winners of those 2 games meet the second game on Friday night, and then the championship game at 7:30 on March the 6th, Saturday night. Now, we have down that we will play at 6 o'clock. Has that been moved up?
Yeah, the start time on Friday will be 5:30.
Okay.
Add a little bit more time for people to get in the gym and then clean the gym out after our game, because everybody that attends our game against whoever the winner of the Lawrenceburg South Dearborn game will have to exit the gym prior to the winners of the games 2 and 3 on Wednesday night coming in to play the second game on Friday. So a little different. And then,
but we're getting to play. That's
Well, you know, we've talked about that a lot just with coaches and at the IHSA. You know, we don't have the attendance that we want. We don't have the crowd that we want, but it's about the kids, and they're having the opportunities you know, contest for a state title so far in every one of the sports that we've had. You know, and unfortunately last year, boys basketball didn't get a chance to run for a state title, and all the 6 spring sports didn't have an opportunity to either do it individually or as a team to contend for a state championship throughout the state of Indiana. So right now, we might be one of the only few that stayed on track through the whole country and continue to step forward and make changes as we needed to go to make it possible for our kids to have the opportunities.
Speaking of crowd and not being able to sell it out to capacity, what's the ticket situation look like?
Each school got 1,000 vouchers. We started today with anybody that, well, we started last week and gave out to our basketball kids and our cheerleader families. Got them taken care of last Thursday and Friday. Today we started giving out vouchers to anyone that happens to have an all-sport ticket for today and tomorrow from 8:30 to 4 o'clock at the high school. You'll be getting a voucher for the Friday night game, which is a yellow one, and then we're going to give the same people that came to get them the vouchers for Saturday, because, you know, it's hard to turn those around in a day. So if you want to get vouchers, come out and get those at the high school. If we don't happen to win on Friday night, which not the plan, the vouchers for Saturday are no longer any good at Greensburg, just because we wouldn't be one of the 2 teams playing. So, but hopefully we'll be defeating the winner of the Lawrenceburg South Dearborn game and take an opportunity to win a sectional championship on Saturday night.
Looking forward to it. Another note that is different, that we here at TV3 will not be able to carry that game due to IHSAA rules. KMX 106.9 will have it. If you do want to watch it, SEI Sports have it, and you have some information about that, I believe. That,
yeah, I have that on an email that I got, and I'll put that out on our website by tomorrow, and then we'll get that tweeted out, and we'll try to throw it through the email and get it to the radio and TV to put out, and maybe the newspaper if they get it in time. So,
but it is pay-per-view.
It is pay-per-view. There's no free watch. They are behind the paywall at ihsatv.org, and you can get there and you can find the regional, and it's a $10, I believe, fee. And then the sectional gets part of that fee to the schools going back. So, but I'll put all that out for you tomorrow.
But keep it tuned to KMX 106.9, and we'll have it all for you for free.
Well, you could be like I used to watch the Reds, watch it on TV and turn the TV down and listen to Marty and Joe on the radio.
I did that.
So,
used to do that with IU basketball as well.
So there's ways around it. But, yeah, you won't be able to just find anybody that's out there live streaming it. And if they are, they'll get caught. So.
Yeah, if somebody thinks they're going to take their camera in and live stream it, they'll be asked to leave.
They will. And we had that happen at the girls section, and we got a little email about who was trying to stream that live, because somehow it pings back to the IHSA and the company that's running that. So.
And part of the reason for this is lack of revenue that they've been able to collect or will be able to collect from ticket sales, is my understanding. And
a lot of people don't know that in football, boys and girls basketball, the schools competing in the sectional get 98% of the net profit to split amongst each other. So obviously our ticket sales are going to be down, and the revenue that some people need and count on for most tournaments are not going to be there, because we're not going to have the crowds. You know, when we played at the Newcastle sectional and you're in the finals, and we're putting 9,000 people in there at $6 a ticket or whatever it is, and you know, that's a good set of money for the teams that are in there to have for their athletic department. So
certainly is, and that's been a long tradition that ever since I can remember. I know that back when we hosted sectional year in and year out, the smaller schools that fed into that really looked forward to that, and that was a lot of their operating budget for the next year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you play one night or 3 nights, you all get the same amount of split. There's been some talk about whether it should be prorated based on the number of nights you play, because it's not your fans that are coming to the game. And I don't know if that'll ever get any more traction than just being talked about. But we're one of the unique states in the United States that actually gives money back to the high schools through their tournament series. And that's not common everywhere you go. So, and that's a good thing from the IHSA to help get back to the schools a little bit.
Boys completed the regular season last Tuesday night at Northeastern, a a very decisive win, I thought, over a very good Northeastern team. That was only their 4th loss of the year. Overall, I think, what did we end up, 15-7 on the year, which, all things considered, and the tough schedule we play, I think a very successful year for the Spartans and Coach Kerry Brown.
Well, I think overall, with the number of kids we had coming back with minimal playing time outside of Toby and maybe Joan a little bit, and Cole probably for half a year, playing time at the varsity level was a little sparse. So it takes a little bit of time. We went through that little rough, rocky track there in January and lost 4 in a row, but have rebounded nicely since we were, I think, 10-7 at one time and won the last 5 coming into the tournament. And, you know, everybody says, well, you know, Northeastern's a 2A school, but they're a pretty good 2A school. There's lots of schools out there that are solid. It doesn't matter what class they're in. They have enough talent to be good. So, and I think that's one thing that for both our boys and our girls programs, and I don't think they shy away from playing people that have talent. So, obviously, you know, we're playing the #1 team in the state, and as the girls play a really solid schedule as well. And sometimes our record is not as good as what I think our kids are, just based on who we're playing. And but I think, you know, they'll get there. You see a lot of turnout with Michelle and the program, and things headed in the right direction. And you know, with Kerry, it's been a solid 10, 11, 12 years of doing the programs in place, systems in place, and the kids that want to be there know what to expect and know how to work at it and stay with it. So.
And I would say that the kids that want to be there, that do that work, find success, because there's, I'd have to go back and look, but I think maybe only 1 season under 500 in Kerry's tenure here with the Spartans, and that was maybe the 1st or 2nd year here.
Yeah, he's done well. I mean, getting things turned around from where we were at and where we're at now. And, you know, like I said, once you get your system in place and the kids understand what the system is, and sometimes the parents to understand what the system is. We're not like college where you get a chance to recruit the kind of athlete that fits what you want to play. You got to work with what you have and mold them into what you need them to be. We don't have the luxury of having the 6'9" kid walk in from this state and that 6'10" kid come from that state. So you got to work within the parameters of the talent that you have on your team. And, you know, for us, whatever sport it is we all work together as a group. You know, your fingers closed is a lot stronger than your fingers separated. So
I think that's evident in the basketball program, that we don't have any players averaging in double figures, but we've got 4 or 5 right there, 8 or 9 points a game, and very balanced. So
you think back through the years, your teams that are really highly successful, you have multiple kids that can score. Makes it a little bit harder to scout, a little harder to defend, because you know, you may take these 2 away, but there's still 2 more in the wings that can still put the ball in the basket. And we fortunately have that team. Sometimes you just don't know who it's going to be on any given night, and some of that's dictated by who they're going to guard and who they're not going to guard. So you hope the one they're not guarding's on for the night, or at least can get the ball in their hand to do the right things with. So
we've shown that we can be competitive with teams like Lawrence North, McCutcheon, defeating them. You know, teams that traditionally have a lot of horsepower and have a much bigger student body to pick from, and maybe a bigger area to pick from. And just to stay competitive with those teams, I think, shows that we are a team.
I think so. I think, and I think I see that in a lot of our sports where, you know, the kids understand what we have to do in order to be successful. I sometimes think that gets lost with some of our fans and some of our people, but there's so many who want to see a 98-96 ball game, and you get beat, they don't care because it's 98-96. But the goal is to get the kids to be successful and have a chance to win.
I like a 30-28 game that we win.
Well, I think if you're a pure basketball enthusiast, you want to watch the sport of basketball, not people just run up and down the floor and shoot. Or if you take football, do you just want to drop back and throw it every 5 seconds and hope you hit a home run on a touchdown pass, or you really want to see the art of football being played and kids blocking and tackling and doing the right thing? So it just depends on what you like.
And what I like is winning, and it seems like...
Well, that's contagious, and that's happy, and, you know, lots of things are good when you're winning. And sometimes, though, the disgruntledness comes from whatever people think or assume should happen, and doesn't always happen that way. Because, you know, as a parent, I know where my kid falls, but doesn't always fall in the same eye spot as what a coach does or the coaching staff does. So,
And I know with our team, if the fast break is there, they'll take it. But if it's not there, then why?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're taught to take the quality shot, not just the first available shot. Take the best shot, you get it. And I'm sure there are kids in every program in the state that have parameters on where they're shooting from. You know, as that one kid says, well, I'm open at the three-point line. Well, there's a reason why you're open at the three-point line. They know it, too. That's why they're not guarding you. So, but, you know, not everybody understands that. You know, when you've been on the other side, coaching and scouting and knowing what you need, then there's a little bit different perspective of what has to take place compared to what people think should take place.
Take a look now at the final EIAC boys basketball standings. Connersville perfect at 7-0 and are the EIAC champions. Got a tie for second place. Greensburg at 5-2, East Central at 5-2, and that wasn't decided until Friday night when East Central downed Greensburg. Lawrenceburg at 4-3, Batesville at 3-4, South Dearborn also at 3-4, and Franklin County at 1-6, and Rushville finishes winless at 0-7. Here's some scores and scores from last week and schedule for this coming week. Connersville, of course, 14-7, defeated Northeastern 58-40. At Greensburg Friday to take on the winner of the South Dearborn-Lawrenceburg game. Rushville 1-19. They lost to Lawrenceburg 76-48, and North Decatur 60-42. They're at Greensburg Wednesday to play against the host Greensburg team. I didn't have that up there, but Franklin County, they're at 7-13. They lost to South Dearborn 65-53. And to Richmond 70-44. They play Batesville Wednesday at Greensburg. Richmond 10-9. They beat Seton Catholic 56-49, and Franklin County 70-44. They host Mount Vernon Wednesday in their own sectional. Cambridge City Lincoln, they are 8-12, ended up 8-12. They down Centerville 49-41. They play at Shenandoah against Shenandoah on Wednesday. Shenandoah, a very fine basketball team. Centerville 8-13. They beat Union City 53-49 in overtime, and they down the Deaf School 53-25. They also lost to Lincoln 49-41. They face Northeastern at Shenandoah on Wednesday. Union County Patriots finished the season 9-13. They lost to Batesville 52-42 and will play Knightstown at Shenandoah on Tuesday. Girls State Championships on Saturday. In the 1A game, Pioneer was over at Lagodi 43-42 and a good one. On Friday night, it was the 2A championship as Tipton pummeled Linton Stockton 63-25, and then back on Saturday in Class 3A, Silver Creek won over South Bend, Washington 54-48. And finally in 4A, it was Crown Point beating Brownsburg 44-34. So some pretty good girls basketball going on. I didn't have an opportunity to watch that, but I did understand that on Fox Sport Indiana that that was free to watch in the state championship. So I would think the boys would be that way too.
I can't answer that question, so I'm not really sure. Sometimes it depends on what Fox Sports showing, as well as if the Pacers are playing or somebody else is on the tube at that time. So.
I did hear a complaint that they allotted so much time. The game, one of those games wasn't over, and they went to regular programming, which would be a little disappointing if you were watching the game.
Yeah, I mean they have their schedule, and of course I should say spread the girls games out. Was able to play one on Friday night, and I don't think with the boys they're going to have the opportunity to do that because I think the Pacers play the night before, so it'll be a little different setup. Might be a little earlier start time for the boys on the first round on that Saturday, whatever that date is at the last couple weeks of March there. So we'll see how that works. I think they found out they don't necessarily need 3.5 hours in between games. They might be able to do it in 3. So it was the first time that Banker's Life had really anything since the wrestling state was the first thing since last year. So they're learning as they're going how much time is needed in between games. So
probably a good tune-up for them before it gets to Big Ten and NCAA play.
Well, I think through the next through the month of March, they're going to be pretty busy in Indianapolis and the state of Indiana with all the basketball that's coming in. You know, as you said, the Big Ten tournaments, and then the NCAA is all completely in Indiana between, you know, Purdue and IU and all the venues in Indianapolis to get those taken care of, and Lucas Oil. And it'd be, if you're a basketball junkie, it'd be a great time to be in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a feather in the cap for the Hoosier State.
Well, I think they've done a great job in the past hosting the big events. You know, go back to NCAA Final Fours, Super Bowl, whatever they've had has been done first class, and the city's always, and it's everything's right there, compact downtown, where you don't have to be spread out and travel. And I realize the first few rounds are going to be spread out around the state, but as they get closer and closer, everything's coming into the middle, and restaurants and parking and everything is right there within walking distance. Enough hotel rooms down in the area to accommodate everybody. So.
And over the years, with the Indy 500, the law enforcement up there is learning crowd control. So,
yeah, you think of how big that thing is with 300-some thousand people typically coming in there, and the masses of people trying to get it out just in a single day or 2 days. And typically, there don't seem to be too many issues. The traffic's not the greatest getting in and out. I've been to a couple times, but I walked a long way because I didn't have to want to park real close.
Well,
so.
it's well, last year was first year in years I didn't go, but we have a parking place with a friend in their front yard in Speedway, and you learn to go with the flow. And yeah, it takes a little while, but
yeah, it's no different than parking here. You know, you can't park right by the bowl, but you can be on 3 blocks away in 10 minutes and be in your car and gone.
And be faster than sitting waiting for the lot to empty at Chrysler Fieldhouse in Newcastle.
Sometimes that's true. I've been in that spot in Marion's gym as well, and in Marion, Indiana. So. Takes a little bit of time to get out of their lot. So
let's back up a little bit here. Once we win the sectional, do we know what the possibilities are where the regional may be? I know they pick a couple sites. And
well, I know where it is. It's at the Hatchet House in Washington.
Oh, it is definitely at the Hatchet House.
Yeah. So we get to, if we get to cut those nets down on Saturday night, we'll be making a trip down to Washington, Indiana the following weekend. So
well, I'm looking forward to that. I've never been to the Hatchet House.
It's a unique place. It's a unique place, so I think the kids would like playing there, just seeing it's a little different style and things, but it's definitely a unique building.
Cool. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about upcoming spring sports. Track's already
Track's
started.
Been going since February 15th. Actually could have started the 8th, but we were in a lot of snow days in those days, so they pushed it back a week. Softball's the next one to start, and it starts next Monday. So any girls that are interested in trying out, next Monday's the tryout date, starting right after school. And then the 15th of March, that'll get us our girls tennis and our baseball, and our boys golf will start. So
those right here.
It's hard to think that today's March 1st, but 2 weeks from today, everybody in the spring sports will be up and running. And I know that middle school also has their stuff getting ready to start with track, and they have boys and girls golf combined, and then started softball a couple years ago and middle school baseball, so they're all getting ready to gear up. So stay tuned to their announcements at school as to when tryouts are, so they can get out there when tryouts start for the middle school softball team and the middle school baseball team.
Probably have something on the athletic website as well. I know there's a lot of CMS stuff on there.
Yeah, I think Mr. Liggett put some things out there. So baseball coaches are in today talking about what they want to do for tryouts, so that's not quite out yet, but it should be out in the next couple of days. So
very good. What do things look like for spring sports? We didn't have spring sports last year.
Well, it's hard to say because a lot of the kids, you know, that you thought you would see by now or haven't seen them play for a year. So those kids that you were thinking as juniors are now seniors, and they've taken that 1 year off. And then we had lost a lot of girls softball players. Last year we got to have a softball season, so we were going to be, I think, fairly young last year and haven't got a chance to see them play. So
while they're a year older, they're still going to be fairly young.
Still rookies that are coming in, so we'll see how things go. But we'll get a good shot here. We're going to try to play a game right before about March 20th for a scrimmage game, which hopefully will be warm.
Yeah.
And traveling down to Jennings County as of today, although they're asking us to change it, but I'm not sure. I don't really want to drive down on Thursday night to Jennings County in March.
That's quite a drive.
Playing in an evening game and have a chance of being really, really cold. So hopefully we'll keep it on the 20th. That's my plan, but
okay,
that'll work.
Well, Brent, appreciate you coming in again tonight and setting in here, and we'll look forward to seeing you Friday night down at Greensburg for the sectional.
Sounds good. I'll be there. We want to wish Allison good luck this coming Saturday at the Gymnastics Regional, and hopefully she'll get a chance, the opportunity to move on to the state tournament.
All right, that's been the Spartan Sports Report on TV3.